Carl. We are live, and welcome back. February 6th, that puts us 10% into the trading year of 2012, less than 9 months now from ye old election 2012, although it seems like the election's been ongoing for 2 years with the Republican debates. And now we get a year or a solid 9 months of Obama politicking. So markets up 7%, let's call it, for the year, pushing to the highs of 2011 on the broader S&P 500. Oil can't hold 100 to save its life, looking lower. Commodities lower, bonds, interest rates lower. How are you, my friend?
I'm pretty good. A little tired today from traveling last night, but I'm good.
Well, you know, when you're bi-coastal from one lake to the other ocean, it's tough.
This one's cold. This lake up here is cold, so I prefer the other one.
What's your weather today in Michigan? Temperature?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't. I'd say high 30s. No snow on the ground. It's kind of icky out.
High 30s, kind of like the Spoos for the last 2 days. High 30s, 1330s.
Yeah, that's right. Right. So what do you want to talk about? Let's talk.
Well, let's talk about, first of all, let's talk about the jobs last week. How we have 30 million more people in this country and 3 million jobs available compared to, say, 5 million in the last decade. And everybody celebrated it. We had a nice gap in the markets, but we haven't really run too much. Matter of fact, I think we're kind of tiring out right now a little bit on the shorter terms, but who knows? Market goes up every day. We're overbought. I think day 24 on the T2108, which measures stocks trading above their 40-day moving average. So 88% of stocks now are trading above now for the 24th day. So almost 5 weeks in an overbought situation. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. This is a bull move up. Pretty typical from the Thanksgiving lows, almost to the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe we'll have our winter correction, and we'll have our spring fling again. So people are getting rewarded from buying the dips, and I would just maybe caution people about getting a little too bullish here.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the dates here, but what was it, early October that we hit that 1068 low for the year? So up almost.
Yeah, but I'm actually talking that 1155 to the tick, I think it was. I'm just pulling stuff out of my head the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, 1125 got you that 1149 area. Yep.
And then we had Santa come, and then this continues. The big boys are pushing the market around where they want it to go, and making some money on the way.
Yeah, Santa's been delivering since I think the 18th of December, straight up every day. We've had maybe a little 1% pullback one time, but there's been nothing significant. And like we said, the moves are thin. A lot of the action comes in between real market hours. The volumes have significantly dropped off. And I want to bring up a point that I don't have any real detail, but I can tell you the volumes have dropped off on the futures markets considerably since the entire MF bankruptcy was announced. So I think they've dropped 30 to 40% at this point, average daily volumes, and that's really going back 64 trading days before the MF bankruptcy and 64 days since. So it's been about 65, 67 days, trading days, since the bankruptcy was announced. And the volumes since have dropped up 30 to 40%. So quite significant that one firm's volume of trading possibly could have affected the entire market like this.
Yeah, we were talking about that before, and again, I just don't. I mean, maybe some of that volume is gone because of that, but I believe it has to do a lot more with people being confident in the markets themselves because of the corrections we've had over the past couple of years, and just kind of the nonsense that's going on in the market. So, and then it gets me back to the fact that the big boys like that. The market's thinner; they can push it around where they need it to go. So,
right.
I'm sticking with that. So.
Yeah. Well, it's somewhat attuned, though, curiously. It's somewhat attuned to if you walked into a casino with your chips that maybe you had used before and bought at the same casino previously, and you bought $50,000 in chips. And you know what? They just decided, now we use pink chips, and even though you bought them from us and they're blue, you can't use them anymore.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, that is pretty much it. The rules of the game change every day, all day long.
Yeah.
And so that takes confidence away from people playing.
Right.
So,
and I guess that's my point. I mean, my point is I think the markets have changed to the point now where, quite a chunk of people have completely been either forced out of the game in a situation like MF, which is unfortunate for anybody that had to be there, or they have lost confidence because they see that and they go, wow, now my money that I was always assured would be safe and wouldn't be touched by the firm now can be taken from me anytime. Well, why do I want to play in a game like that?
Yeah. Well, we also have some factors with the boomers retiring and stuff and needing to use some of that money that they had tied up, too.
Right.
So that goes back to so there's a lot of things going on in that sense, I guess. But I was having a conversation with my buddy who slips next to me, and he's going, he's retired, and he's got to, but anyway, he has no confidence in the market. And I said, well, I think you would be kind of foolish to put all your hard-earned money into this market and lose it. Because we watched a gentleman who did that and lost everything.
You're talking about, when you say markets, Carl, though, you're talking about any markets, all markets. You're not speaking specifically towards equities, futures, commodities. You're talking about all markets in general.
Yes, all markets in general. Yes.
And so, from a trading perspective, how is your, I can tell you personally, I've always had a mantra of trade less, make more, but I've become even trade less and less and less of late. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are as a trader. Let's give people some.
You mean as far as what's going on right now?
Well, just on how you're behaving. I mean, I'm just speaking for myself. I'm personally not trading near as much as I have, especially this time of year in January. These months can be pretty busy, but I have not been busy at all.
Well, I usually just, I pick out levels, and that's where I pick my spots to trade around. I'm not an indicator guy, but I do pay attention to timer charts so I know what we're trading in, up or down.
Right.
And right now, this is a bull move. So right. I'm a short seller, so I need to keep things on a tighter leash because, the dudes that are buying the dips are getting rewarded.
Yeah, but the dips, to me, I have no problem
and this
buying
can run away from you. And this can run away from you. For me, if I'm going to be stubborn and stay short, that's a fool's game. So.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think you have to trade both ways, but I think, as far as a dip buying, perspective, the dips aren't shallow, or they're too shallow for me to buy on a trend trade, and we're too long into the tooth to play the long side on a longer term perspective. Too early to short. So my time frames have really become, if I do one or two trades, shorter, and in that if I hold a trade for a day, that's a pretty long time anymore.
That's a pretty long time right now. Yes, yeah. It is.
And that's my point. But I guess the reason why I want to bring that up, Carl, is, as traders, you need to recognize the context of the market, where we are, how we are trading, and adjust accordingly. This is part of the game. As we're not bringing up these points about changes in the markets to say, woe is me. It's just you need to adjust to these things and kind of reroute the rules to play so you are effective.
Yeah, and so what I do is I always step back and you take a look at the longer time frames. So, for instance, like on crude, I'm buying that at 94.40ish. I'm not going to give you the exact number, but right around there, I'm looking at buying crude there.
Right.
And I think you're playing with fire trying to short it because I don't like shorting crude, man.
Well, nobody likes to short crude with everything that's going on in the Middle East, but I think, again, a lot of that
that's a bunch of hoopla. But that's just my thoughts on that. Yeah.
Right.
But I just don't like shorting crude. I'd rather play crude from the long side because it does a lot of things. But anyway.
Right.
So anyway, getting back to my point, I look at the longer time frames and then scroll in to try to pick my spots out. That's just kind of what I do.
Yeah.
And boy, I mean, as far as the charts go right now, I can just tell you that, hey, there's a possibility that this could go up to, I'll give you a big round fat number, 1420-ish.
Yeah, easily.
If we take out 74 quarter. The high from last spring winter was 73 half or something like that.
Yep, 73
if I'm correct. Okay, well, that's 3 ticks away from a level for me, 74 quarter. If we go trade daily above 74 quarter, that means to me that we're probably going to go higher. So
I agree. I have a target of 1450 sometime this spring. So I'm with you.
Really, that's pretty high. I don't think we'll see that. But,
well, 1420, 1450, 2%, big deal.
Yeah. No. I mean, you're throwing darts at that point. But.
Right. But on the flip side, like you said, it's also no time to be piling in, chasing this long side if you've missed the last 220 points or so. Or, if you want to take it to the low, 270 points. But that being said, we're just traders and we don't really care. I'm not running a portfolio. I haven't done that in 7 years, so that doesn't mean much to me. But I'm just looking at a market like today in the S&Ps. We're looking at a 4.5, 5 point range, and we're halfway through the day. This is a market that demands patience, demands you pick your levels, Carl. And that's all I want to really, drive home here to people is that, you don't need to be active in a market. Sometimes doing nothing is your activity for the day.
Yeah. That is, cash is a position.
It is. And so we'll leave it with that. We're going to get back to doing some more of these videos. I just wanted to pop in and say hi and, let you know we're thinking about you here on the West Coast, and we'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. We'll see you later. Have a good day now.
Thanks, man.